everybody. Well, welcome to the Liberation Lounge. I am super excited today for my special guest. Some of you may know her, love her, adore her like I do. And we're excited to have this very real conversation because here at the Liberation Lounge, it's all about real talk with real women. That is what we do here at the Liberation Lounge. So without further ado, let's welcome to the virtual studio, none other than Miss Renee Jefferson. Good to see you, Renee. How are you?
I'm well. Good to see you. I'm excited to be here. Can't wait to get into these conversations.
Yes, yes, it's going to be so good. So here at the Liberation Lounge, it's all about liberation. It's all about how we as women have found ourselves in places where either we needed to get liberated or we made some very conscious and strategic choices and decisions about how to live a life of liberation. And so, just for our viewers who may not know a whole lot about you, let's just start with quick introductions, just who you are, where in the country or in the world are you right now, and kind of like what you do. We'll just start there.
Okay, so hello, everybody. I am Renee Jefferson. I am a real estate investor and developer, and I have been in the real estate industry for over 20 years. Um, I have done some development in Cincinnati, most of my projects in Cincinnati. I've had properties in over 6 states. I was also a licensed realtor before, and a lot of other things involved in real estate. So, um, lately, I've been doing a lot of traveling, but I am stateside. I am in Florida right now. And yeah, for a minute, I don't know if you want to just jump into it, but I can stop there
Jump
and then
in.
we can get into the questions.
Yeah, yeah. Well, that's good background, just so people kind of know a little bit. And you're also a published author as
Uh,
well.
twice. So
Yes,
far, so
two-time
far.
published author. Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, which is absolutely phenomenal. So y'all can certainly research Renee Jefferson on Amazon to check out her books. But let's get right into the conversation. There is a lot going on in the world today. That's an understatement, right? There's
There is
a
a lot. There is a lot. Yes, there
there's
is.
a lot happening in the world today. And so I think it behooves us as women more now than ever to get really aligned with our purpose because there's a lot of stuff out here that can get us distracted, right? And so let's talk about that. Like, how would you really define living your purpose and what does that really mean to you at this stage of your life? Because it might have meant something different before. But what does it mean to you right now?
I think for me, I just cut out all of the noise and just focus on things that make me happy, things that
Mhm,
I want to do that serves me. Because right now, I'm being a little bit selfish and it's about me right now. I'm like,
mhm.
raise kids, I'm becoming an empty nester. And, it's just really feeling whatever the energy, wherever the soul, whatever it takes me, that's kind of
Yeah.
how I feel. But I will say that I've recently discovered that, I feel like God has been using me to as
Mhm,
a vessel to basically, encourage other people, to
mhm,
inspire other people. And you know what? I've been doing that forever, and I didn't really
mhm,
realize I look at it as that maybe God working through me as
mhm,
my purpose. I
mhm,
didn't look at it like that until recently, and I was just kinda, like, blown away to discover that that was what that was.
mhm,
And so
mhm,
I get people often tell me how I inspire them, I mean, just random people out of the blue,
mhm,
sometimes people I don't really know, people who follow me or whatever, and that feels amazing that I am
mhm.
to, um, touch people in that way,
Yes.
just by me being me, like, just by me doing what I feel is my purpose and just things that I wanna do in the world in general. I mean, there's so much more that I wanna do, like, I haven't even scratched the surface,
Right.
but but just, basically being a good person and trying to see the good in people and help them see their potential that they may not have even seen themselves.
Absolutely, absolutely. And I can certainly attest to that because just the way you live your life, right? You live your life very intentionally and by like personal design, and you haven't really allowed all the noise and the outside influences to alter, right, the way that you want to live your life. And that is inspiring to people because so many people find themselves being influenced by the opinions and the thoughts of others and by society's expectations or their parents' expectations or their spouse's expectations, right? And those are the things that often can get us off track, right? And so you've had, I think, such great clarity about your direction and have stood to that, right? Regardless of what's going on the outside. So that's really beautiful. So maybe you can tell us really like right now, like what does living a life of liberation mean to Renee right now? Like what does that look like? How does that play out in your regular everyday life?
So I will tell you this. My life shifted when my husband passed away 17 years ago. There was a
Mhm,
major shift and it just clicked. Um,
mhm,
so my focus then was time, right?
mhm,
It was
mhm,
time, it was freedom. Um, so when I was doing real estate then, my focus for real estate was to be able to collect as much real estate that I can possibly collect so that I can have the income so that I can have the time to do what I want versus trading my time for money. You see what
mhm.
I mean?
Yes.
And so it's it's just always been time for me. And it was never about money. It was never about, it was just the freedom and the time because he was 36 years old when he passed away. So
Mhm.
that really registered with me that we don't know how much time we have. You know, I'm
Yep.
not concerned about all of these other things that people were concerned about, and a lot of people didn't understand it. But I think once you go through something like that,
Mhm.
you really start to understand it. And it's interesting because I've been reading this book called The Energy Codes, and what the Energy Codes was telling me is that things don't happen to us; it happened for us, right?
Yes.
And
Yes.
it can be a death or whatever. And um, I was trying to like go through my mind about like how is that if someone dies, it doesn't happen to us, it happens for us. Well, I realized how my life changed, what
Mhm.
became important to me, what started driving me even more. That's how much my life changed. And then I thought about like other people where they find that they find their purpose, becoming, whatever they find their purpose in. Like I've talked to some other people who
Yeah.
has lost maybe a child, maybe a spouse, and
Yeah.
it it changed them and gave them purpose.
Mhm.
So by
Mhm.
that definition, I'm like, wow, it just blew my mind because I never really thought about that
Yep.
these things happen to us or no, for us, not to us.
Yes. Absolutely. And you're so right because, obviously in the midst of a tragedy, it's like it's shocking. Like you have this whole range of emotions. But I do believe that there's this weird way that the way the world works that causes us to kind of wake up to certain things.
Mhm.
And it's like God knows what those things need to be in order to like snap us out of it, right? And so I completely agree with what you're saying. And so, like, utilizing that as like a baseline, right?
Mhm.
Can you just kind of share with us, like, how living in alignment with your purpose has really impacted the different areas of your life? And I'm talking about like your health, your business, your relationships. Like, how does living in alignment really kind of keep you grounded in all those different areas?
So for now that I'm 49 years old, I've gone on this health journey. I'm like
Mhm.
working out almost every day. I'm eating differently. There's just things that I will not eat. And I'm checking it. In the States, our food is a little different. So it's like even when you think
Yeah.
you're healthy, you may not be eating healthy.
Yeah.
That's one of the things. But I am definitely intentional about making sure that I take care of my health because there's so much
Mhm.
that I want to do in this lifetime. I'm like, okay, give me till 90. Like God,
Yeah.
me till 90. I got so much more I got to do in between that time. So the thing that I can control as much as I can is my health,
Mm-hmm.
right? So that is part of it so that I can stay in alignment for what I need to do coming forward, right?
Mm-hmm.
Um, from you said relationship wise, like you have to be in alignment with me. Like I like to travel. I plan on moving out of the country.
Mm-hmm.
Alignment is important. We have to be on the same wavelength or somewhere similar. You cannot be working a 9 to 5 here in the States and cannot travel, and
Yeah.
we would work. I
Yeah.
wouldn't even attempt it. But it's not just that, even spiritually,
Yeah.
there's a lot of different things that, we need to be in alignment. And as we get older, I just realized that I can't waste time with
Mm-hmm.
anything that doesn't certain. Now you can have your own life, right? You can have
Mm-hmm.
your own thoughts and stuff like that because I can learn from you, and I'm open to that.
Mm-hmm.
But to the core, you can't say no, I'll never move out of the country. Okay.
Right.
All right.
Right.
Moving out of the country.
So
That's
that's
for
what,
another.
yeah, exactly. Exactly. And you have residency in another country. Maybe you can tell our listeners a little bit more about that.
I have residency in Panama. I'm actually looking to probably get residency somewhere else. I'm thinking either Spain or Brazil. I just
Mhm.
recently visited Brazil and fell in love with it.
Mhm.
But yeah, I do have residency. I've had it for about it's been a minute, maybe 5 years. I really don't even know.
Mhm.
So I'm back and forth there a lot. You know, yeah, I don't know what else I can tell you about Panama. Panama's great. So I would say go visit, and check it
Mhm.
out for yourself. But I think that we should all have residency somewhere else. We should
Yeah.
all try to have residency somewhere else or
Yeah.
citizenship.
Yeah,
Um,
we've been seeing a lot more conversation around that
yeah.
really recent years, but most certainly in recent weeks, we've been seeing a lot more conversation about that. And I think, as challenging as the pandemic was, many of us lost loved ones and people that we cared about through that. Again, we go back to what you said earlier, it's not happening to us, it's happening for us. I think the benefit, if you want to call it that, or the higher value out of the pandemic, what it did is it really caused people to stop and evaluate if this is really what I want my life to look like, right? And that whole kind of digital nomad boom happened coming out of the pandemic where people were finding ways to be able to work more remote. And it's like, oh, well, I don't have to do this in my
Yeah.
backyard. I could do this over in Thailand. I could do this. Like I got a Facebook friend right now. It's like, I'm going to take 6 months. I'm going to travel. I've ended my lease. My lease on my car is done. And I gratefully, she found a position where that was 100% remote. And honey, she's like, I'm out,
That's
right?
the life of
For 6 months.
liberation. Like, there you go, right there.
Yes.
Like, I'm like, the first time I went to Panama, I stayed 3 months. I took my kids out of school, put them on online school, and they were in elementary and junior high at the time. So I
Yep.
took them out of school, put them on online school, and I was like, I need some flexibility. And we
Yes.
stayed there during the winter of 2016, 2017. Yeah, 2016,
Mhm.
20. And that was the first time that, I've taken them and stayed 3 months somewhere. And so now when
Mhm.
I travel, I'm like, I can't just do a week, especially if I'm going long distance. I'm like, I need more time. So
Yep.
I was considering doing 3 months in London soon. But
Mhm.
like we were talking about earlier, my year sabbatical that I've been planning for years, to do a year sabbatical and travel to different countries so that I can just, kind of get a feel for where I may want to live the rest of my life.
Yes.
Um,
Yes.
so that is supposed to start this year, the end of this year.
Mhm.
However, priorities have shifted a little bit. I've just gotten
Mhm.
back into real estate development and I'm really focused on getting some projects this year. So we'll see
Mhm.
how things go. I can do some travel, but
Hmm.
my priority is definitely going to be with the real estate at this point. Like I'm
Yep.
really excited about the opportunities that's coming, and that's where my focus is right now.
That's good. That's good. That's so good. And you were talking earlier about alignment, and we've been having some conversations around this with my significant other, and one of the things that really brought us together and how we were aligned was
Yeah.
the fact that he's planning on moving out of the country within the next couple of years. And I told him, I was like, I'm looking at, maybe Bogota, Colombia. I'm feeling drawn to Bogota. I don't really know why, but I'm being drawn to Bogota and I'm in a mastermind. And it just so happened that both of these women in this other mastermind that I'm in, both of these women have extended family that have lived in Bogota for like 10 years. And they're
Oh,
like, we can get you connected to my family, da 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 da. If you need a temporary place to stay, I was like, what? Maybe it's just
no, they do that. Yeah.
better, you
They
know?
will absolutely, they do that. And
Yeah.
that's when it's a different type of people.
Yes. Totally different type of people. So
Yeah.
it's just interesting that when you do start to put stuff out there in the atmosphere, it's like the chess pieces start to move, right? The chess pieces start to move. And so one of the things that Glenn and I were saying, he's like, you know what, April? He's like, I think you should just do like a month in Bogota and then do a month somewhere else, do a month somewhere else, right? And try
Absolutely.
different places to see what really resonates with
But
you, right? So where you may actually want to have residency. So we're in that exploratory process right now too. By the way, y'all, you can stay in a really nice high-rise co-working condominium building in Bogota, huge studio, like 600 square feet for 400 US dollars, includes all your utilities and your internet access, and it has a gym, and it has a pool. And you just start to really see how expensive stuff is in the United States.
it is. It is.
It's
That's the
so
other thing. It's
expensive.
like I want to live somewhere where it's not expensive, where I can actually just enjoy life and not worry
Yes.
about having to. I don't need that stuff. Like I don't care for
Yeah.
any expensive house or expensive car. I'm just not in that phase. I'm
Yep.
really just wanting to just enjoy experiences, enjoy
Yes.
places, enjoy different people, and give back. I
Yep.
want to be able to give back on different levels.
Yep.
But
Yeah.
yeah, it's a different place to be in.
Totally different. Totally different. I think when I was talking to Glenn about this recently, he said, I want to live in a place where I can sell my car and I can get around by walking or on a bike. He's
Yes,
like, that's the
that's
kind
how
of
it is
life
in
I want.
Panama. I don't need a car in Panama. Um,
Yeah.
in my neighborhood, I can walk to everything, restaurant, shops, and everything. And then if I
Yeah.
need to outside the neighborhood, I can still walk. I can ride a bike, and Uber is only like $3.
Right.
Super cheap. It's
Super cheap.
so I would never need a car there.
Yep.
So I
Yep.
like the idea of being someplace where I don't need these unnecessary expenses, no car insurance, no car, no
Yep.
just I'm good on all of that.
Yeah, it's interesting how our tastes and just our preferences begin to shift and change as we get older, but also as we just begin to understand what's really important in
Yeah.
life, right? And so, yeah, I totally, totally agree with that. So, y'all, do your research, get on a plane, go stay somewhere, work remote for 2, 3 weeks, give yourself the privilege and the opportunity to really be able to see how other people live. And I think what you'll find in most circumstances that the US is cool, but it ain't all it's cracked up to be.
It
I'll
ain't
be
all
honest
that.
with y'all.
It ain't all that.
It ain't all that. It's all right, but it ain't all that. And your money will go a
But
whole lot further
there's
in a
other
lot of other
things that are
places.
nicer. And yeah, they're not other, people will say, well, be careful out there. You be careful.
Right.
Like, okay, but you be careful too.
Exactly.
Going to the corner store.
Right. Just corner store. Isn't that the truth?
Oh my God. Yes, yes,
So
yes.
true. So let's kind of wrap this up a little bit. And let's just talk about if you were to give the 20, 25-year-old version of Renee, um, a solid piece of advice, like if you could just like speak to her, because we have some listeners right now that are in that age group, right? And so if you could give them one piece or give that younger version of you one piece of advice to live a life of liberation, what would be that piece of advice that you would give that younger version of Renee?
So it's actually funny because the younger version of Renee actually did this, and that
Mm,
is what I call living in your truth. So
mm,
that is being completely honest with yourself. And then
yeah.
when you go out into the world, you can be completely honest with everybody in the world because
Mhm,
you are now, that creates your freedom. You don't have to
yes.
pretend to be something that you're not. You don't have to lie about something, a decision that you may have made. Okay, yeah,
Mhm,
sure, I did that. I did it, you know?
mhm,
And that's the decision that I made. If it's a
yeah.
good decision or if it's a bad decision, own it.
Yeah.
So I learned that in my 20s, and that has shaped how my entire life has been as well, moving forward. And the funny thing about that is that I was listening to Oprah yesterday. She said the
Mhm,
same thing. I was like, listen, I know I'm onto stuff. I know what I,
yes.
right? And she said,
Mhm,
she said, oh, I didn't write it down. I thought I wrote down what she said, but basically she just said the same thing I said. Like once you start living in your truth, or she didn't call it living in your truth. She said something about that same thing, but she said life opens up to you. So
yes.
it absolutely does. It absolutely does. And
Mhm,
it just starts with the smallest thing to say, like, you know what? I'm just going to be completely honest with myself
yeah.
because then that you can be honest with other people. And
Yeah.
whether they like your decisions or not, they can respect your honesty.
Yeah.
And then if you feel like, again, like I said, if you feel like you've made a bad decision on something, oh, I shouldn't have made that decision, but that's what I did. So how do I correct this, or what do I do next?
Yeah.
But that takes away so much of your problems
Mhm,
because you can then look in the mirror and you can truly be who you are.
yeah.
A lot of
Yeah.
people that live, oh, I'm gonna fake it till I make it. I used to hear that all the time growing up, and I'm like, what do you mean fake it till you make it?
Mhm,
It is what it is. Be who you are
yeah.
and grow into what you want to be.
Yeah. Exactly.
So my younger self, my early to mid 20s, this is what I learned. And that's what I would always tell anybody else.
Yeah.
Learn to live in your truth. Life will definitely open up to you because then you'll start to become more in alignment with who you really are or what you want. You'll
Yeah.
start to see things differently. And then from there, things just start snowballing, other stuff start happening. And, I think that's where you get your connection, your awareness starts to happen.
Mhm,
You
mhm.
are truthful and honest with yourself. I think that's when awareness starts to sink in.
I could not agree with you more. And I hope all of y'all heard that, okay? Because living your truth, and we all wake up to it at different times, right? Renee learned it in her 20s. Sometimes we have to have like a major life event that transpires to kind of wake us up to that. But the sooner that we can be imparting that into the younger generation, oh my God, so much better off they're going to be. And especially in this era of social media where everybody is faking the funk. Okay. And so it's so important that we own that ourselves, but that we really gift that, right, to the younger generation and helping them just understand how important it is, because she's so right. That is really where the world begins to open up to you because it's aligning with your authenticity. And that's really what this is all about, is aligning with your authenticity. That's where your relationships begin to shift. That's where business opportunities begin to open up. That's when you start meeting the right people. And that's just where you wake up every day feeling more aligned and walking in your purpose and what you're actually supposed to be doing. Right. And so I absolutely love that advice. That is so incredibly valuable. Ladies, and even the gentlemen that are watching right now, it has been truly a pleasure to have this real talk and real conversation with you, Renee. Thank you so much for what you have done and what you continue to do to inspire other people to live their highest good and to live their truth. And so if there was one thing you wanted to leave our audience members with, what would be your final comments you'd want to share?
Um, just try to be a good person. You know, I tell people all the time, like just live a positive life. Remove
Yeah.
all of the negative. Create some boundaries around yourself. You know,
Hmm.
people who are not bringing in the good energy, the
Yeah.
positive, remove them.
Yeah.
Rem- I mean, that's probably the best advice I can give you is to
Yeah.
place boundaries, remove the negative energy, and focus on just being a positive person, and things start to align.
Yep. They absolutely do.
Absolutely.
Absolutely do.
I can't stress that enough. Living in your truth and creating this energetic field where no negative energy comes in and just positive vibes only is a
Hmm.
good thing, you know? So that's
Absolutely.
that's that's
That's
it.
that's a great way for us to end the show today. I am so honored that you would take time out of your schedule to spend some time with us. And I'm excited, y'all, because next week, we have none other than the amazing and the beautiful and talented Ariel Simone is going to be on the Liberation Lounge next Tuesday out of Dallas, Texas. Our sister, me and Renee's sister from another mister. We are so excited to
I'm
have Ariel next Tuesday.
yeah.
So yay. So with that, y'all, thank you so much for tuning in to April Joy's Liberation Lounge, where we have real talk with real women. We look forward to seeing y'all next Tuesday at 12 o'clock Eastern with another great conversation with the beautiful and talented Miss Ariel Simone. Thanks so much, everybody. Have a good day, and we'll talk to y'all real soon. Bye. Thanks, Renee.
Bye.